All right, we've got some breaking Commanders news here on a Saturday night as the Washington Commanders are re-signing tight end Zach Ertz to another one-year contract here that's going to pay him $6.25 million, which could go up to $9 million in incentives. We're going to be breaking down this signing and what it means for the Washington Commanders on offense in 2025 here in just a second. But first, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we're going to get you guys breaking news updates for every single Commanders signing this week. Of course, NFL free agency starts this upcoming week here on Monday. We're going to have extensive coverage for you guys for every single signing that the Washington Commanders make. Of course, we've already had multiple breaking news videos so far this weekend with Bobby Wagner getting re-signed, Jonathan Allen, of course, getting cut as expected. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because if I'm here, home, sick, whatever the case may be, or whether I'm at the office, we're going to make sure that we get you guys the best damn Commanders coverage money can buy right here on the Commanders Report. So let's just dive right in here. One-year contract, $6.25 million for 2025, which could go up to $9 million if he hits all the incentives for tight end Zach Ertz. Now, Ertz is somebody that is very important to Jayden Daniels, all right? Like, that's something that we need to keep in mind here, because Zach Ertz is somebody that was kind of his safety blanket last year, with all the, back and forth at the wide receiver 2 position. Obviously, that gave Terry McLaurin a lot of attention from opposing secondaries, and it was really Zach Ertz, kind of the savvy veteran, that was doing the Lord's work there of getting open in those zone windows, giving Jayden Daniels, a reliable target on third downs, and he was really a really big part of Jayden Daniels' comfort in Cliff Kingsbury's offense in his rookie season. So, we've been talking about the possibility of bringing back Zach Ertz this entire process of the offseason so far, and it certainly seemed like a possibility that they would bring him back, and now it is officially official. Jayden Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury, they want Zach Ertz back for another season. So there was some speculation that maybe they'll go in a different direction at tight end. There was some speculation maybe they would elevate Ben Sinnott, who they drafted pretty early in the NFL draft last year, to assume that number 1 tight end spot, but it definitely seems apparent here that Zach Ertz will be, maintaining that position in the Commanders' offense. And with Mike Gesicki getting re-signed by the Cincinnati Bengals this weekend, I really don't think there was a lot on the tight end market that the Commanders would have really been interested in. And I think at the end of the day, they just kind of decided this is somebody that we know works within our system. We know our quarterback has chemistry with this particular tight end. We know that he's a very savvy route runner with very reliable hands, all these different things. And at the end of the day here, they decide to bring back Zach Ertz here on another contract. And, it definitely shows that this team is willing, and, they're definitely making an effort to bring back their veteran pieces. We saw that with Bobby Wagner getting re-signed earlier in the weekend. They want that leadership on the defensive side of the ball, and now they want that veteran leadership on the offensive side of the ball, bringing back Zach Ertz. So, a big question that should be on a lot of Commanders fans' minds right now is what other former Commanders players that are going to be free agents here are they going to bring back? Are we going to get news of Jeremy Chin re-signing? We know how good of a fit he is in the Commanders defense. Do they bring him back on potentially a multi-year deal? That's certainly something that I could see get done before the legal tampering period on Monday. Do they bring back any of their wide receiver type free agents? Do they bring back Olamide Zaccheaus? Do they bring back De'Ami Brown? Do they bring back Jamison Crowder? Like, how many of those guys do they bring back? Do they not bring back any of those guys? There's still a lot of question marks left to be had here, including whether or not they're going to cut Andrew Wiley. I kind of hoped and expected that this team would have cut Andrew Wiley by this point in the offseason, but they haven't done that so far, which has me a little bit worried here, guys, that they're going to keep Andrew Wiley for yet another season. And, to be frank here, I think that'd be a terrible idea. I think that they need to start fresh at the tackle position. And, I think that left tackle will be a very interesting position this year, of course. Will they keep Brandon Coleman there at left tackle, or will they try to get a replacement? Of course, we got some bad news today. For me personally, I wanted to go get Ronnie Stanley, but of course, he ended up signing an extension with the Baltimore Ravens. So When you look at the other left tackle options in free agency, I mean, it's not fantastic. So if the Commanders decided to give it another go with Brandon Coleman at left tackle next season, I can't exactly say I'd blame them with the other options at offensive tackle heading into free agency. It's like, do I really want to spend big money to get Cam Robinson in here? Do I really want to spend big money to get Dan Moore Jr. in here? Do I really want to spend money to get an old Tyron Smith? I just don't know if that's something that I want to do if I'm the Washington Commanders. And then sitting at pick number 29 in the first round of the NFL draft, do I really want to, at that point, at pick number 29, is there going to be any legitimate, left tackle prospects that are ready to go day one on the left side to protect Jayden Daniels' blind side? It's definitely not a great position to be in right now if you're the Washington Commanders, which is why I really wanted to get Ronnie Stanley, but of course the Ravens didn't give the Commanders the opportunity to get him. So it's going to be interesting to see what this team does at all these other positions. Of course, they went out and traded for Deebo Samuel to fill out one of their needs at wide receiver. That's good, and I think that with the options available to the Commanders, Zach Ertz probably made the most sense. Bringing him back for another season, give Ben Sinnott another year to kind of grow and develop and get comfortable in his own skin as a National Football League tight end. And he's going to be pretty much the true tight end 2 now that John Bates is likely going to be out the door. So I don't really expect this team to make that many more moves at the tight end position, either in the draft or in free agency. I kind of feel like they're going to be pretty good with what they got. And they still got plenty of money to spend. Will they go out and trade for Trey Hendrickson? Will they go out and trade for Myles Garrett? Will they spend money on edge rusher in free agency? There's still a lot of question marks left on this journey that the Commanders are on right now as to building this roster. What is this team going to look like in 2025? And we're going to be covering it all right here on the Commanders Report. And I think that they're making the proper steps every step of the way here. We talked about why Deebo Samuel makes a lot of sense for this offense specifically. We've talked a lot about Bobby Wagner, having his leadership and having his savvy and having his football IQ leading this defense is so important. And now we've talked about Zach Ertz, with his route running savvy, his comfortability and his chemistry with Jayden Daniels and, with Mike Gesicki off the market. Tight end class, do you really want to bring in a rookie to be your number one guy? I just think that all the moves that GM Adam Peters right now is making makes sense to me, and that's very encouraging heading into NFL free agency on Monday. So that's going to be it for today's breaking news edition of the Commanders Report. Again, guys, to recap the news, Zach Ertz, tight end, is back on a one-year contract worth $6.25 million, which could get up to $9 million in incentives. So good news if you're a Washington Commanders fan. This offense did get better by retaining somebody that the quarterback is definitely very familiar with and has chemistry with already. Now I'm very excited to see what kind of other moves they're going to be making here in the coming days. If we get more breaking news on the Washington Commanders, we will have you covered right here on the Commanders Report. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.